This isn't a giant bowl of soup. This is a pho-quarium. 45 minutes, 9 pounds, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, go ahead and start the terrible dad joke counter now because we're gonna be here a while. If I can finish this, I get paid big time. If I fail, this is the most expensive bowl of soup I've ever bought in my life. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. This isn't food, this is decor. This belongs in a dentist's waiting room with some smooth rocks at the bottom and one of those little bubbling filters in the back. Maybe a fake plant, maybe a goldfish named Kevin. What it does not belong in is in front of a grown man who made a good life decision today. I asked for a bowl of pho, not something that requires a lifeguard on standby. And yet, here we are. So, let's dive in because this one's not just a quick hitter. This is going to be a full-on event. First bite, and immediately problem number one makes itself very clear. Temperature. This thing is hot, not like fresh out of the microwave hot. I'm talking aggressively hot, like it's still actively cooking. I told myself I was ready for this, but this bowl had steam rolling off the top like it's trying to say, forget about it. And you'd think I'd have learned my lesson based on the ramen challenge I did in Indiana. I went in way too fast, way too confident, and basically turned the inside of my mouth into a war zone. Burned my tongue, burned the roof of my mouth, burned places I didn't even know you could burn. Couldn't taste anything for days. It was brutal, and in my infinite wisdom, I did a nacho challenge a few days later. It ended up about as well as you'd anticipate. I'll put a link to both of those videos at the end of this one so you can commiserate with my questionable life choices. But this time, I've got a plan. I grabbed a second bowl and started separating the broth from the main vat. The piping hot liquid goes into that side bowl to cool down, and I keep all the solids, noodles, beef, tripe, in the main bowl. That way I can work through the food part first, the solids, without torching my mouth, and then come back to the broth once it's actually drinkable. Fun fact, the side bowl I used is their double serving bowl, which adds another layer of ridiculousness to the challenge. Because if you rush hot broth in a challenge like this, it's over early and not in a highlight reel kind of way. I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself. Let's talk about what's actually sitting in front of me here. This isn't just a lot of food. This is 9 pounds, over a gallon. You've got about 2 pounds of noodles, 2 pounds of assorted beef cuts, and somewhere around 5 pounds of broth. This is less of a meal and more of a commitment. And we're taking on this commitment today at Yummy Pho and Boni in Houston, Texas, where portion sizes are apparently decided by asking one simple question. What if we just didn't hold back? Now the stakes are pretty straightforward. Finish the whole thing in 45 minutes or less, and I walk away with $120, a custom tumbler, a spot on their wall of fame, and a little bit of bragging rights. But if I don't finish, I'm paying $60 for the meal and a healthy dose of humility. So yeah, time to focus. Now, as I start working through this birdbath size bowl, let's talk a little bit about pho itself, because this isn't just any soup. Pho is one of the most iconic Vietnamese dishes in the world. Traditionally, the broth is simmered for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, built on roasted bones, charred onion, ginger, and spices like star anise, cinnamon, and cloves. It's meant to be balanced, aromatic, comforting. This version, this is like pho after it's been hitting the gym. This is souped up. This is Houston, and if you know anything about Houston and Texas in general, they don't do anything small here. And Houston, by the way, is one of the most diverse food cities in the United States. It has one of the largest Vietnamese populations outside of Vietnam, which means the pho scene here is the real deal. But it also means they're not afraid to push things a little bit and occasionally turn it into a full-blown challenge. Now, coming into this, I've got a number in my head. The current record, at least as far as I know, is held by Joel Hansen at 8 minutes and 33 seconds, which is phenomenal. That's not eating. That's a coordinated tactical operation. So that time sitting in the back of my mind as I'm going at this, I don't just want to finish this bowl. I want to put together a solid run. And several minutes in, however, something funny happens. My heart rate monitor buzzes and flags me as entering vigorous physical activity, and I wish I was kidding. My heart rate hit about 135 beats per minute and is climbing just from eating. So for anyone wondering, yes, this counts as cardio. Coming up at around the 4 or 5 minute mark, I hit what I like to call the giant noodle pull. And this is where the scale of this thing really starts to sink in, because you grab a bundle of noodles, you lift, and they just keep coming and coming. It's like pulling a thread out of a sweater that someone somehow knit directly into this bowl. And at this point, I'm really starting to lean into the strategy I planned before this thing even hit the table, because this challenge wasn't just about eating fast. It's about managing problems. 3 big ones. First, volume. We're talking over a gallon of food, and the tricky part isn't just the solids, it's the liquid. Liquid fills all the nooks and crannies, preventing you from doing that shimmy and shake to compress what's already in your stomach and make room for more food. Now, fortunately, I normally eat a pretty high-volume diet. Lots of vegetables, fruits, low-calorie density foods, so my stomach is used to stretching. But this is pushing my limits. Second, temperature. Even with me having separated a lot of the broth from the main bowl, everything is still hot. The heat slows you down. Your body's resisting it. It's like every bite comes with a built-in speed limiter or governor. This thing makes me want to drink that nice, tall, refreshing glass of ice water next to me. But I know my stomach only has so much room to stretch, and I don't want to waste precious space in exchange for staying cool. And then there's the third problem, sodium. Because pho broth is already salty, but in challenge form, you're basically taking in several recommended days worth of sodium in one sitting. During the challenge, it makes you want to chug additional liquids, and with the challenge already being at 9 pounds, like I said, I don't have much room in the tank to add superfluous liquid volume. After the challenge, this is where your body starts filing complaints. We're talking bloating, water retention, feeling like the Michelin Man for a couple days. So I already know post-challenge is going to be a lot of fluids, electrolytes, maybe some compression socks, just trying to get things back to normal. But for now, we keep trucking along. Around the 8-9 minute mark, I go back to my side bowl. The broth has cooled enough to drink fairly quickly, and I'm able to pick up the pace for a little bit. But this is where things really started to shift, because even though that side bowl has some cooler broth, it's still a lot of hot liquid, and it's starting to sit heavy. By the time I'm getting close to halfway through from a volume standpoint, I can really start feeling my pace slowing. Not because I want to, but because my body's revolting to the sheer amount and sodium content and heat of this challenge. And this is where food challenges stop being just physical. They start becoming mental. And one part of that mentality is just appreciating the sheer ridiculousness of the challenge. From my last video, which was the Fat Shack 5,000 calorie challenge, I received an awesome recommendation from Too True For You to have the macronutrient profile for my future challenges added in to provide perspective on how massive these eat feats truly are compared to what a proper human should eat in a given sitting. So here it goes. What does this small bathtub of pho equate to? This entire bowl clocks in at roughly 4,000 calories. To put that into perspective, that's about 38 bananas, or it's about 85 chicken nuggets. That's a birthday party tray, and I'm the only one that got invited. If you have a sweet tooth, it's about 20 glazed donuts. So basically, this is just a giant bowl of dessert, just beef flavored. But it's not just calories, it's the macros that make this thing a real challenge. We're looking at close to 280 grams of protein, which sounds great until you realize it's packed into 2 pounds of beef that I actually have to chew. Then there's about 380 grams of carbs from mostly noodle. So every bite is just stacking more and more volume. And the real sneaky part, about 160 grams of fat hiding in that broth and beef, which means this thing is going to get heavier and heavier the deeper I go. Early on, it feels doable, but halfway through, that's when things are turning. The noodles start expanding, that broth is sitting heavy, and suddenly those 38 bananas don't sound so funny anymore. At this point, this stops being a meal and it's a mental battle. So the question is, can I power through what's the equivalent of 13 cheeseburgers worth of food in soup form, or is this bowl about to win? So now we're roughly at the 14-minute mark, and I go to refill that side bowl again. This broth is still hot, still working against me. I'm actually getting to the point, though, where I can tip the main bowl a bit, try to reposition everything, find what's left, see what I'm dealing with. And that's when it starts to hit me. There's no bottom to this bowl. It's just layers. Endless layers of noodles and meat and broth. It's like a never-ending excavation project.
There's no bottom to this bowl. It just keeps replenishing.
At this point, this is one of those moments, if you've ever pushed yourself physically, whether you run, you lift, you do any type of exertion, you know exactly what this feels like. your body's basically saying, we're done here. And your brain has to step in and go, no, we're not. Keep moving forward. There's a split second here where this could have gone south, where everything just stops. But instead, I reset, took a breath, and just keep moving forward. But then a little while later, something funny kind of happened. I actually took a second to appreciate the flavors again, because somehow, despite everything, this is still really good. The broth is rich, savory, deep. The beef is tender. Even the tripe, which can be hit or miss, is actually holding up really well. And that's the weird part about this challenge. It's not bad food. It's just too much good food. About 19 minutes in, I find a bunch of tripe at the bottom of the bowl, saved for last. Like saving the marshmallows in a bowl of Lucky Charms, but chewier, not as sweet, and knowing that they've come from the guts of an animal. And now we're closing in. Final bites, final sips, hoisting this massive piece of crockery and trying to not let it slip through my greasy fingers and shatter into a million pieces.
I am radiating heat. I'm flush. Absolutely phenomenal. Super. Other broth jokes insert here.
If you didn't get your fill on this supersized food challenge, check out my attempt at Indiana's largest ramen bowl and the nacho battle in Iowa that followed it. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much to Yummy Pho and Boni for an amazing experience. You all were super accommodating. You made the challenge a lot of fun, and I'll definitely be back to eat a proper human-sized bowl of pho sometime soon. Until next time, have a super day and stay hungry.